Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla stock. Let's go over what is happening in this market, what we can expect moving forward into the rest of this week. Really, we have a pretty, potentially, not surprising, I should say, jam-packed week. We have PPI tomorrow, CPI Wednesday. So let's see how the market reacts and Tesla and all that good stuff. So I'll give you my thoughts as per usual, but ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed, please don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But again, if you do enjoy my technical analysis, my thoughts on the charts, updates, etc., 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 I do share my thoughts with my members every single day as the market is trading throughout the trading day, constantly giving them updates. So yeah, just $3 a month, mainly on Tesla stock, of course. Definitely check it out. That link is below. Or for $5 a month, you get access to that first tier, which is Tesla stock plus bonus stocks if I see an opportunity. Like today, for instance, this morning, I actually shared Apple. Let me just show you the Apple trade I shared earlier this morning. It was well in the morning, right here, 6 hours ago, right? 6 hours ago, look how it looked like. This is what the stock looked like when I shared it, right? And it's already up a nice amount. Look at this beautiful looking hammer candle too. Now there's obviously some concerns potential with this trend line, but nonetheless, whatever, you get the point. Anyways, link is below, check it out. But jumping into a Tesla closing the day, actually with a pretty nice day, actually with a nice surprising, almost you could even argue, 2.2% on the day, closing just above $400 per share, which obviously compared to the market is going to be a pretty respectable outperformance, with QQQ being slightly in the red, despite both markets obviously starting the day off pretty rough, but they both ended up bouncing pretty nicely, which is also what I shared my members with as well. Pretty much when QQQ and SPY were near the bottom, I was sharing my thoughts and telling them how I think we're absolutely closer to a bottom than a top. Now it's not guaranteed just yet, especially with CPI and PPI, but I do still stand by that statement. Now, Tesla stock, right? What is it going to be doing for the next little bit here, right? That's the main question. Are we finally ready to break out? Is Tesla finally ready to, at the very least make its way back up? I think to, I'd be surprised if we don't see 460, assuming we get this bull flag breakout. But that's like my minimum target, right? And then obviously the next target will be all-time highs, and then really just actual fresh all-time highs. But at the bare minimum, I would expect 460 if we get this breakout. Now the question is, well, are we ready yet? The answer, unfortunately, is still no, right? The reason the answer is still no, unfortunately, is because, well, we're still within this downward channel. Like I said, I mean, we're in the downward channel, right? We're not going to break out, or rather, we will at some point break out, but we haven't broken out just yet. So, I mean, it's pretty simple, right? As long as we remain inside of this downward channel, as long as this, trend line right here remains intact and we have not breached it, I still technically expect, despite me thinking that, it's hard to say this, right? Technically speaking, while we're within this downward channel, you assume you're going to continue moving downwards. But I want to also say and add the fact that Tesla's relative strength the past few trading days relative to the market has actually been pretty impressive. It's been holding like pretty strong around this kind of, 380s and, poking our head into the 370s type level. It's been holding phenomenally around these levels, right? No issues. It's been pretty impressive. So it has been showing some nice strength on, pretty weak market days. Now, whether or not it'll continue, especially when the market reverses, I mean, who knows? Because Tesla usually kind of does its own thing, but I like that. So the point I'm trying to make here is, yes, we're still in a downward channel. Yes, technically speaking, you should continue expecting that, there's a higher chance we continue down even lower than actually breaking out until, proven otherwise, right? Which in this case, in my opinion, a breakout sometime, honestly, even as early as tomorrow, about 415 to as high as 425 for more confidence, but even above 415 is already a pretty good sign, as early as tomorrow potentially, right? Or sometime this week, right? By the time we get to Friday, honestly, even a break above honestly 405 could be pretty good, because obviously it's descending, so the natural breakout level would naturally decrease or descend with it. So anyway, so that's kind of the idea behind that, right? No, it's not ready to break out yet. Yes, it's looking pretty good. Yes, it's looking like it wants to be ready soon, but still no confirmation is essentially what I'm trying to say. Now, like I said, if we break out first target, I'd be pretty surprised if we don't see at least 460s. A break above 460 brings us to the fresh all-time high retest, which is again about that 490 level. And of course, a break above 490 will pretty much uncharted territory, right? So anyway, that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Now, other things that I'm looking at, right, for downside, let's say, because again, we're still technically speaking inside this downward channel. And one thing to watch for is potentially going to be this, this EMA right here. You can see the EMA cloud is pretty small right now, right? It is pretty small, but if I take away the EMA cloud, I'll bring out this instead. You can kind of see it a little bit better, right? The moving average is essentially on the daily, right? This is pretty important stuff. I'll remove the Bollinger Band for now, so there's no, confusion, right? But you can see, right? So we have the 9 and the 21 EMA up here, and we have the 50 EMA down here. So we're kind of holding the 50 EMA, you can see here, which is pretty similar to the market bias roughly, right? But the idea is the fact that we're holding the 50 EMA, which is good. Every time we come close to, we were finding support essentially, which is good. But there is a chance that we turn the 21/9 EMA, which is quite literally right above us. We're actually pretty much just slightly above it in all-time highs after hours, but we'll see, right? So, recapturing this for Tesla will be a good start. That'll be, obviously a promising sign, and closing above them ideally compared to like what we did back here in this candle, right? Where we couldn't close above both of them. That would be a good start, right? So that'll be a good start. So, again, it looks good. Tesla's looking pretty promising. It's looking like it has potential, but the key word is potential. We need to see better kind of follow through for more confidence, which is why I'm still personally only just selling cash secured puts. I'm still holding my cash secured put I had from like last week, Thursday or something like that. I'm already up I think 60% on it or something like that, but I'm still continuing to hold on it, right? Mainly because I'm okay getting a sign with it. Like if it comes back down to my strike level, which I think is at 277 and a half is what I have right now for this Friday. Hey, I'll buy the shares. No, whatever, all good. I'll buy the shares, right? But I'm continuing to hold it because again, I don't think, even though technically speaking, we could still go lower because we're still in this downward channel. With the strength being shown lately on Tesla, I don't think we will. But if we do, it's all good. I'd be happy, buying those shares. Anyway, that's kind of my overall general view on Tesla stock moving forward, right? Another thing to watch out for, of course, is the Bollinger Bands. Obviously, we've been towards the bottom end of the Bollinger Bands, even on the daily chart, which again, the idea with the Bollinger Bands is the fact that, there's more often than not of a time that you trade like 90 to 95% of the time, you're going to be trading within the two bands, or rather between the top and the lower band. So, when you break down below the lower band or the upper band, it's only like a 5-10% chance of the time that you stay and make these kind of moves. Like these kind of moves don't happen very often, right? More often than not, you do not have these kind of moves happen. But the point is the fact that because we're so close to the bottom band, I don't see us going too much lower. Again, like I said, my kind of lower like bull case, but worst case bull target to the downside, assuming we still have one more leg down, about 360. So anyway, that's kind of my overall perspective, and it hasn't really changed too much overall. So, we just need better follow through ultimately is what it really comes down to. PPI, CPI could be that, or it could be what brings us back down one more time, one more leg lower to about 350, 360s. And that's where I think the bottom will for sure be in, or not for sure, but pretty damn good chance. Anyways, so that's my perspective there, right? On top of this, we also have the stochastic on the verge of crossing bearish. Hasn't really crossed it yet. It's kind of there, but this is a good sign. We're seeing the curling action. We could still get rejected here, keep in mind, but we're seeing the curling action here. And if there's a place for it to finally cross, it seems like it's pretty damn close. So let's see if we can get that crossover starting hopefully tomorrow. But yeah, all in all, Tesla looking pretty solid. I think it's looking pretty constructive. I think it's looking like it wants to rally. It looks like it wants to break out, and it's showing promising signs of wanting to break out. Excuse me. But it simply has not broken out just yet. So I'm not jumping up and down for joy just yet. But, I think we're getting close there. I think we're getting close. And I think, one more push is all that's needed. Worst case scenario, we get one more push to the downside to about 560. Why do I keep saying 560? 360 ish. And I think from there we go up higher. So it's either we go kind of like this, or we like roughly from here, right now, or we move one more lower and then we go up. I think one of those two happen. I don't know which one, of course, it'll be, but I expect it to be one of those two scenarios. Personally, could be wrong. I don't know. You never know. I could be completely wrong. Now, the one thing that I don't want to sound too bullish here, right? And the reason is because I try to look at both sides, and the opposite side is, despite yes, it's looking more bullish than bearish overall, because we're also on the weekly chart technically taking what was a massive area of supply and seemingly turning into a massive area of demand, or resistance into now support. The one thing that I guess it is technically of a concern is the fact that, we're still pretty far away from the median line, if you will, of the Bollinger Band, which is still sitting at 320. So we're still pretty far away from that, right? So there is a chance that even if we do break out, that the breakout isn't ultimately anything too crazy. Maybe 460 is what we get, and then we ultimately reject from there and then come down lower like this. And this is ultimately what we end up forming, like a massive weekly bull flag. And then essentially people will start charting it kind of like this instead. And then we'll get a massive weekly bull flag like this. The Bollinger Band middle line will catch up. We will essentially fully reset the stock, and we're good to go. So that's something to consider, right? We're still a little bit far away from my liking. I'm not a huge fan of that. At some point, this will either catch up to us or we'll come back down to it, or somewhere in the middle. It's hard to say which one it'll be, but I usually feel a lot more confident once we do catch up back to it. We're not there yet. So keep that in mind. That is a bearish concern, I would say. And the other bearish concern I would say is the weekly stochastic is in overbought territory still, and it has officially crossed bearish. That is the other two concerns. I would say those are my main two concerns right now overall, which is why I'm not jumping up and down for joy, which is why I'm mainly selling cash secured puts. And yeah, I don't know. That's just the way I look at it, right? And my only issue is this, right? Again, with the point I brought up earlier, with how on the weekly we're still very far away from the middle line of the Bollinger Band. Like, again, keep in mind, every time we've been really far away from the middle line of the Bollinger Band, we've snapped back to it, right? We always kind of snap back to it roughly right here. Very far away, we snapped back to it, right? Same idea. Even up here when we were really far away, ultimately we at some point snap back down to it, right? So at some point I expect us to come back down to it, right? It's just a matter of, do we go to it? Does it come to us? Do we meet in the middle? Nobody knows. But again, like I said, I feel a lot more confident once we do snap back down to it, personally speaking. That's just my opinion. Anyway, so those are my overall thoughts, I would say, on Tesla and the chart, and that's kind of what I expect moving forward. So yeah, let me know what you think down below. Let's take a quick look at options flow and see what happened. Towards the end of the day, actually, we did see some puts roll in on Tesla stock. So clearly some bears are, they're not buying this rally. They're not happy about this rally. They're coming in towards the end of the day. It could be a hedge. You never know. That's the thing. This is why I don't just blindly follow options flow. We don't know the full picture. Hey, this could just be a hedge. This could be some whale that's just hedging against CPI, buying 2 million worth of puts. But nonetheless, it could be like a massive whale. Maybe 2 million to them is 2,000 to us or something like that. You never know, right? You never really know. So, watch out for that. I mean, it's there. Take it for what it's worth. But, some bearishness did come in pretty much at close, so we'll see if that comes into fruition or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, that's my overall analysis. Really, just to put it simple, it is what it is. Let's see what happens. Those are my targets to the downside and to the upside. That's my kind of, if I had a concern on the weekly, that would be the concern, like I mentioned. Again, nothing is perfect. Nothing is only bullish. Nothing is only bearish. There's always, both sides of the coin. But long-term speaking, again, if you're someone that's just buying and holding, and you're probably fine. Let's be completely honest here. Looking out to 5 years from now, there's a good chance you're probably fine. But short-term speaking, for the next weeks, maybe even a month, that's my analysis. That's my thoughts. And yeah, let me know what you think down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.